Hello, Dr. Ben Bravery here to tell you a bit more about my memoir, The Patient Doctor. At the age of 28, while my Beijing-based science communication business was booming and a new relationship was blossoming, I woke from a colonoscopy to be told that I had colorectal cancer. As a scientist, I understood the seriousness of the condition. Cancer had quite literally whacked me in the guts. But what I didn't expect was how being a patient, and a young one at that, would make me feel. Why hadn't I been prepared for the embarrassment and vulnerability of lying naked on an examination table in the middle of a big cold room? Why wasn't I warned about the sheer number of tubes and objects that would be coming out of my body after surgery? Why did I feel like an imposition to ask doctors about the pain I was feeling on ward rounds? And why did I have to repeat the same information about my illness and my risk factors and my family history over and over again? During 18 months of treatment, including radiation, 2 surgeries and chemotherapy, I felt scared, overwhelmed, often invisible, and sometimes alone. As I recovered, it struck me that after everything I'd been through, I couldn't go back to my former career. I needed a change, and I wanted to make a change. I wanted to become a doctor. I passed the entrance exam and dived headfirst into the challenges of medical school, including an unrelenting timetable, terrifying ward rounds, and the difficulty of maintaining compassion under pressure. Now, driven by my experience on both sides of the healthcare system, I have written The Patient Doctor, a no-holds-barred account of how I overcame the trauma of my illness to study medicine and share what I believe student doctors, patients and their families need to do to ensure that the medical system puts the patient at the very heart of healthcare. I think what makes my book different from other medical memoirs or other books written by doctors is that I heavily use my experience as a patient, because I went to medical school because I was sick. So I've never forgotten what it was like to feel sick, to feel powerless. And so I understand disease from the inside rather than just reading it in textbooks. I've decided to write the book now because I think, as we reflect on COVID and the pandemic, we realise lots of society can be different. Things we didn't really make sense before, and nowhere is that more apparent than in healthcare. But all the pandemic has done is exploited or brought out the vulnerabilities that were already there. I mean, I was a patient 10 years ago. Then doctors were stressed, nurses were overworked. Now we're seeing doctors and nurses leave the profession at a really high rate. There aren't more hospital beds to take the increasingly sick number of people. And also I think the system has exploited the fact that doctors and nurses have given a lot of goodwill because they want to make things better, they want to care for people, but they're not always able to do that in the way that they want to, the way that aligns with who they are as a person, aligns with their heart. Patients have actually given the system a lot of goodwill because they've accepted care that hasn't always been the best for them. They have left consultations frustrated. Doctors may not have listened to them. Nurses may have dismissed their pain, for example. I think both sides are strained. All the pandemic has done is just bring that to the surface. So the ideas I discuss in the book aren't related to what we need to do post-pandemic. They're related to what we need to do to fix the healthcare system full stop.